Money is not a mystery. It is not a stranger you must chase, convince, or wrestle with. Money is simply energy, an obedient servant, responding to the thoughts you think, the words you speak, and the expectations you hold. For too long, people have believed that money comes through struggle, sacrifice, and survival. But those who understand the deeper laws of life know a different truth. Your mind is your greatest currency, and your words are the keys that unlock your treasure house. Every fortune ever created began with an idea. Every breakthrough began with a belief. Every windfall began with a moment when someone dared to say, "Good is coming to me, and I expect it now." The power is not outside of you. It is within you. When you speak with certainty, when you declare abundance instead of lack, your words travel ahead of you, clearing the path, shifting circumstances, and drawing resources like iron filings to a magnet. Your voice becomes a command to the universe, and the universe always obeys a confident soul. But you cannot magnetize money while clinging to fear. Fear is the great destroyer of wealth. Fear whispers, "You can't." Faith replies, "Watch me." Fear says, "There isn't enough." Faith proclaims, "My supply is infinite." When you release fear, you release the chains that keep prosperity from flowing. When you release doubt, you release the brakes on your financial destiny. And when you release scarcity, you step into a life where supply is natural, constant, and ever increasing. There is a divine right supply with your name on it. No one can take it from you. No economy can limit it. No circumstance can block it. What belongs to you comes to you. When you align your thoughts, your words, and your expectations, see money flowing to you. See opportunities unfolding. See yourself living in ease, not tension. Hold these images with unwavering faith, and they will draw their physical counterparts into your life with astonishing precision. Every belief you upgrade expands your capacity to receive. Every negative thought you release untangles a knot in your prosperity. Every word of gratitude multiplies your blessings tenfold. And when you act, boldly, fearlessly, expectantly, you signal to life that you are ready for increase. Inspired action opens doors that logic cannot explain. It moves the right people toward you. It places you at the right place at the right time. It turns impossibilities into inevitabilities. Money is not attracted to hesitation. Money is not attracted to doubt. Money is attracted to clarity, certainty, and confidence. So stand tall within yourself. Speak abundance. Expect miracles. Walk in faith. And allow the infinite supply of life to rush into your experience. For when your mind aligns with prosperity and your heart aligns with gratitude, money cannot help but find you. It has no choice. You have become its magnet. The mind is the birthplace of every fortune, every opportunity, every breakthrough, and every moment of abundance a person experiences in their lifetime. Long before money arrives in the physical world, it appears in the unseen realm of thought. This is why the greatest wealth, builders, visionaries, and spiritual teachers all point toward one undeniable truth. The mind is the original source of riches. When a person understands this, they stop seeing money as something outside of themselves, something to chase or beg for, and begin to recognize that wealth first forms inside their consciousness. Your dominant thoughts, your inner conversations, your silent expectations, and the mental pictures you rehearse daily are the blueprint from which your financial life is constructed. Every dollar that has ever entered your hands did so because at some level, consciously or subconsciously, you were aligned with receiving it. And every financial struggle you have ever faced was the direct outcome of a belief, emotion, story, or mental habit that resisted abundance. Nothing happens randomly. Money does not show up by good luck or vanish by bad luck. It follows the tone and direction of your inner world. If your thoughts are shaped by fear, scarcity, and doubt, you unknowingly construct a mental dam that blocks the flow of prosperity. But if your thoughts are shaped by confidence, expectancy, and faith, you open the floodgates for wealth to pour into your life in natural and unexpected ways. This is why some people seem to attract money effortlessly, while others fight for every small gain. The difference is never intelligence, education, or even opportunity. The difference is the state of the mind. A mind that believes in abundance will find abundance. A mind that believes in limitation will experience limitation. Life mirrors the content of your consciousness with absolute precision. You receive not what you wish for, but what you think from, what you feel deeply, and what you expect consistently. Thought is creative power. When you hold an idea long enough, it begins to solidify. When you imagine a new financial level and treat it as possible, life rearranges itself to match your belief. Every invention, every business, every empire began first as a thought in someone's mind. They dared to see what others could not. They dared to believe in the invisible before it became visible. This is the essence of true wealth creation, aligning your mental blueprint with the prosperity you desire. Your mind is like a projector, and your life is the screen. If you don't like what you see on the outside, you must change what you are projecting from within. A person can work endlessly, taking action after action, but if their thoughts are contradicting their desires, their efforts will feel exhausting and unrewarding. They may work harder, yet see no increase because their internal blueprint is still designed around lack. But when the mind shifts even slightly from I can't to I can, from I don't have to I am open to receive, from there's never enough to my supply is unlimited, the outer world begins to shift in response. New ideas appear, new opportunities emerge, the right people show up. Circumstances change in ways logic cannot explain. This is the silent law that governs all wealth. What you hold in your mind with feeling becomes your reality. The mind is not a passive instrument. It is a magnet, constantly attracting experiences that match its dominant vibration. If you constantly think thoughts of worry about bills, debt, and financial insecurity, you are broadcasting a signal of lack that pulls more lack into your life. But if you train your mind to dwell on abundance, even if your current situation does not yet reflect it, you begin to send out a different signal, one that draws prosperity, solutions, and opportunities. To magnetize money, you must first become wealthy in your thoughts. You must think as someone who is deserving of good. You must feel as someone who is supported by life. You must speak as someone who expects increase. And you must act as someone who knows that they are backed by an infinite source. When these inner qualities align, money begins to obey you. It finds you, follows you, and flows to you in ways that seem almost miraculous. But this process begins with awareness. Most people are not aware of what they constantly think. They repeat thoughts inherited from their parents, their culture, their hardships, or their past failures. They unknowingly rehearse fears that block wealth from reaching them. The mind becomes full of old beliefs such as money is hard, I never have enough, rich people are greedy, or I'm not lucky like others. These thoughts, though invisible, have tremendous power. They shape the person's entire financial reality. To change the outer world, one must first change the inner conversation. Every time you choose a thought of abundance over a thought of lack, you shift the trajectory of your life. Every time you affirm wealth instead of scarcity, you strengthen the mental blueprint of prosperity. Every time you imagine success instead of failure, you send a clear, powerful signal to the universe that you are ready to receive. The mind responds to repetition. The more you feed it thoughts of increase, the more it begins to eliminate thoughts of limitation. Money is not attracted to confusion, anxiety, or doubt. Money is attracted to clarity, peace, and confidence. When your mind is centered in faith rather than fear, you become a magnet for abundance. You begin to see opportunities others overlook. You act on ideas others dismiss. You remain calm in situations where others panic. This calm confidence opens doors that desperation could never open. It draws helpful people into your life, aligns you with the right timing, and places you exactly where you need to be. The law of mind does not discriminate. It works for everyone, everywhere, in every circumstance. Whether you believe yourself wealthy or poor, the mind will build the experience around your belief. Whether you expect increase or decline, the mind will shape reality to match your expectation. Whether you affirm strength or weakness, prosperity or struggle, success or failure, the mind will always take your most dominant thoughts and turn them into form. This is why mastering your thoughts is the greatest financial advantage you can ever possess. When you govern your inner world, you become the architect of your outer world. When you choose thoughts deliberately, you choose outcomes deliberately. When you understand that the mind is the source of riches, you no longer fear losing money, because you know you can create more from within. The supply is not outside. The source is not external. The true generator of abundance is the invisible power of your own consciousness, shaping every experience, every opportunity, and every flow of prosperity that enters your life. Words are not ordinary sounds. They are forces, frequencies, commands that travel ahead of you and shape the conditions of your life long before you reach them. Every word you speak carries energy, intention, and creative power. Many people treat their speech casually, unaware that their words are planting seeds for future experiences, some seeds of abundance and some seeds of struggle. But those who understand the deeper laws of life know that words are tools of creation, instruments through which unseen forces obey and circumstances rearrange themselves. When you speak with confidence, clarity, and expectancy, you activate a spiritual law that transforms your financial reality from the inside out. Every statement you make about money becomes a kind of instruction. When you say, "I never have enough," you are giving a command for lack to continue. When you say, "Money runs out so fast," you are calling forth experiences where money slips through your hands. When you say, "Everything is getting more expensive," you anchor yourself into a belief that the world is shrinking around you. And because life mirrors your deepest statements, you begin to attract more situations that match those words. Most people do this unconsciously. They repeat the same limiting language they've heard from family, society, or past experiences, not realizing those words are building walls around their prosperity. Yet the opposite is equally true. When a person chooses words that align with abundance, when they speak with certainty rather than fear, they activate a creative power that draws opportunities and resources toward them. Saying, "Money comes to me easily," is not wishful thinking. It is a declaration that sets unseen forces in motion. Saying, "I am open to receive unexpected blessings," prepares the mind to notice opportunities instead of worries. Saying, "Everything I touch prospers," is not arrogance, it is shaping the vibration you send into the world. Words spoken in faith lift your energy, shift your focus, raise your expectations, and transform the very atmosphere of your life. They become keys unlocking doors that once seemed impossible. The tone of your speech matters. Words spoken with hesitation carry little power. Words spoken with conviction are like arrows that hit their target. A simple statement said boldly can change the direction of your life. Many people speak positive words, but quietly, doubtfully, or only when they feel good. But the law responds to certainty, not occasional hope. When you speak for your abundance even when your circumstances contradict you, you declare that you trust the unseen more than the visible. That kind of faith carries tremendous power. Your words are like magnets. They draw to you people, opportunities, ideas, and circumstances aligned with the frequency you speak from. If you constantly talk about problems, problems will find you. If you constantly talk about abundance, abundance will follow you. Life does not argue with your words, it simply responds. Every declaration, every complaint, every affirmation, every doubt, these are instructions the universe takes seriously. You cannot speak defeat and expect victory. You cannot speak lack and expect overflow. You cannot speak fear and expect blessings. But the moment you choose words aligned with wealth, your entire energy field shifts, and the world begins rearranging itself to match your new command. There is a reason ancient wisdom, spiritual teachings, and modern success psychology all emphasize the same principle. Speak what you desire, not what you fear. Your words should be architects, not reporters. Most people use their speech to describe their circumstances. They say things like, I'm broke, I'm struggling, I'm unlucky, nothing works out for me, or I can't afford this. They believe they are merely stating facts, but they are actually reinforcing those facts and ensuring they continue. The truth is, your words should not describe your life, they should design your life. Speech is not meant to repeat your past, it is meant to create your future. When you speak abundance into your life, you are not ignoring reality. You are shaping a higher reality that will eventually override the lower one. Words spoken with faith are creative actions, not empty phrases. Imagine two people in the same situation, both facing financial difficulty. One says, I guess this is how my life is, and their world remains small. The other says, something better is on the way, and that statement expands their energy, raises their expectation, and attracts new possibilities. The difference is not the situation, it is the word. A single sentence can elevate your entire life. Your words also influence your subconscious mind, which controls most of your decisions, habits, and beliefs. The subconscious accepts repeated statements as truth, even if they are not yet visible. When you repeatedly affirm wealth, your subconscious begins to reorganize your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors to match that statement. You begin to notice opportunities you would have previously ignored. You start acting with more confidence. You become more open to possibilities, more willing to take inspired action, more receptive to blessings. The subconscious does not distinguish between reality and imagination. It only responds to the words you feed it. So when you consistently speak abundance, your subconscious becomes a silent partner in your prosperity. Words also shape your emotional state. When you speak with hope, your energy rises. When you speak with gratitude, your heart expands. When you speak with confidence, fear loses its grip. And when fear dissolves, you make better decisions, think more creatively, and attract higher outcomes. Emotion is fuel, and words determine the direction of that fuel. Speak fear and fear grows. Speak faith and faith grows. Speak abundance and abundance grows. There is a rhythm to speech. The more you affirm your prosperity, the stronger the vibration becomes. At first, you may feel like your words are empty, especially if your circumstances contradict your declarations. But keep speaking, keep declaring, keep commanding, because every time you speak an abundant word, you weaken an old belief of lack. Every time you speak a prosperous statement, you rewrite a limiting script from your past. Every time you choose words that uplift you, you shift into a higher frequency where money flows more freely. Life listens to your voice, and money, too, responds to how you speak about it. If you speak of money as something scarce, it will remain scarce. If you speak of money as something that avoids you, it will avoid you. But if you speak of money as something that flows, something that supports you, something that comes from an unlimited source, it will begin to respond. Money is obedient to the one who speaks with authority, gratitude, and expectation. Your words carry the power to open the gates of abundance or close them. Speak as someone who expects good. Speak as someone who trusts life. Speak as someone who knows they are worthy of wealth. Your words today are building the prosperity you will walk into tomorrow. The voice you use becomes the world you live in. When you realize this, you begin to speak not from fear, but from power, knowing each word is a creative force shaping the financial future unfolding before you. Fear is the greatest thief of prosperity, the silent force that blocks money from flowing, the unseen wall that stands between a person and the abundance that is meant for them. It hides in thoughts, in emotions, in the stories people tell themselves, and in the quiet assumptions they carry without even realizing it. Fear whispers limitations, rehearses worst-case scenarios, exaggerates obstacles, and convinces the mind that abundance is far away or difficult to reach. It ties the imagination to lack, binds the heart to worry, and keeps a person circling the same financial patterns over and over again. Until fear is released, abundance cannot fully unfold, because fear and prosperity cannot exist in the same space. They are opposite vibrations, opposite energies, opposite worlds. Fear of not having enough is one of the most common forms of bondage. It is subtle yet powerful. It makes a person hold back instead of stepping forward. It makes them cling to old situations instead of embracing new opportunities. It makes them distrust life, expecting things to go wrong rather than believing things will work out. When fear sits in the mind, even blessings feel temporary, even opportunities feel risky, even money, when it comes, feels uncertain. A fearful mind cannot relax into abundance because it is always waiting for something to collapse. Fear also shows up as hesitation. When a person wants to pursue a new job, start a business, ask for a raise, invest in themselves, or step into something greater, fear tries to stop them with thoughts like, what if you fail? What if you lose everything? What if it doesn't work? These questions are not warnings, they are chains. They freeze inspiration, weaken intuition, and destroy the courage needed to take steps toward prosperity. Every great success story begins with someone who refused to let fear make their decisions for them. Scarcity consciousness is another mask fear wears. It convinces people that there is not enough money, not enough opportunity, not enough support, not enough resources. It makes people view life through a lens of competition instead of creativity, limitation instead of possibility. Scarcity makes a person believe that someone else's success means their loss, that the world is a closed system where only a few can rise. But this is a lie fear tells. The truth is that life is abundant, overflowing, generous, and always expanding. There is no shortage in the universe, only a shortage of faith in what the universe can do. Fear of receiving is yet another hidden barrier. Many people want more money, yet deep down they feel unworthy of it. They carry unconscious guilt, inherited beliefs, or cultural messages that say wanting wealth is selfish, wrong, or unrealistic. So when opportunities come, they sabotage them. When blessings show up, they downplay them. When they get close to financial breakthrough, they shrink back because some part of them still believes they don't deserve it. This internal conflict pushes abundance away, not because life is withholding, but because fear is rejecting. Letting go of fear does not mean pretending everything is perfect. It means shifting your inner agreement. It means choosing trust over worry, choosing faith over doubt, choosing possibility over limitation. Fear loses its power the moment you stop believing its story. Every time you face fear and say, "You are not my truth," you reclaim your energy, your clarity, and your ability to attract wealth. Fear cannot survive in a mind filled with expectancy. It cannot dominate a heart filled with gratitude. It cannot influence a person who has decided that abundance is their natural state. Releasing fear begins with awareness. Many people are so used to fear, driven thinking that it feels normal. They think worrying is responsible. They think preparing for failure is realistic. They think doubting themselves is humility, but these are illusions. Worry is imagination used against yourself. Doubt is faith pointed in the wrong direction. Overthinking is a prison disguised as logic. To release fear, one must become conscious of its presence. Notice how it tries to speak. Notice how it tries to control. Notice how it tries to shrink your vision. Once you recognize fear's voice, you can choose a new response. When fear says, "What if you lose?" reply with, "What if I win?" When fear says, "You're not ready," say, "I am being prepared." When fear says, "You'll fail," say, "I was made for success." When fear tries to pull you back, answer with words that push you forward. Every bold statement weakens fear's grip. Every confident thought dissolves another layer of limitation. Releasing fear also requires understanding that you are not alone in the journey of abundance. Life supports you. There are forces, opportunities, and invisible currents working in your favor. Doors open when you trust. People appear when you act. Solutions arrive when you stay calm, but fear blocks this flow. It shuts the door. It tightens the energy. It creates tension that repels what you desire. When you release fear, you unlock cooperation with life itself. Letting go of scarcity is equally important. Scarcity whispers, hold on to what you have because nothing better is coming. But abundance says, release what no longer serves you so something greater can arrive. Scarcity says, you're running out. Abundance says, your supply is infinite. Scarcity makes a person cling tightly, but abundance requires openness. The more you release fear, the more open you become, not just to money, but to ideas, inspiration, guidance, and possibilities. Releasing fear is an act of faith. Not blind faith, but inner certainty that everything you need will be provided at the right time in the right way. Faith expands your vision, fear contracts it. Faith opens your mind, fear closes it. Faith connects you to abundance, fear disconnects you from it. The moment you choose faith, even if your circumstances have not yet changed, you change your vibration, and that shift begins attracting new experiences into your life almost immediately. When fear is released, the mind becomes clearer, ideas flow, intuition strengthens. You begin to feel guided rather than confused. You stop questioning your worth and start claiming it. You stop shrinking and start expanding. You stop surviving and start thriving. Opportunities that once felt intimidating now feel aligned. Actions that once felt risky now feel inspired. You begin to notice signs, synchronicities, and moments of divine timing that were always there, but hidden behind the fog of fear. The release of fear is the beginning of abundance. When fear falls away, money flows more easily because the energy that once blocked prosperity is gone. When you let go of worry, you become receptive. When you let go of doubt, you become magnetic. When you let go of scarcity, you open the gates for life to shower you with more than you imagined. Abundance is not something you chase, it is something you allow. And the moment fear leaves, abundance enters. Gratitude is the golden key that unlocks the hidden vault of abundance. It is the vibration that transforms scarcity into sufficiency, worry into peace, and limitation into overflowing prosperity. Gratitude is not just a pleasant emotion or polite habit. It is a spiritual force that multiplies whatever it touches. When you are grateful, even for the smallest thing, you send a message to the universe that you are ready for more. Gratitude expands your capacity to receive because it shifts your focus from what is missing to what is present, from what you fear to what you appreciate, and the universe always expands whatever you focus on. A grateful person is magnetic. Their energy attracts opportunities, supportive people, inspired ideas, and financial blessings. They walk with a sense of fullness rather than emptiness. They expect good because they see the fingerprints of good everywhere. Gratitude sharpens your awareness, heightens your intuition, and opens your eyes to the abundance already surrounding you. Many people miss their blessings because they are so focused on what they lack. But the moment you begin to appreciate what you have, no matter how small, life begins to reveal treasures that were always hidden in plain sight. Gratitude changes your internal atmosphere. When you are grateful, your heart softens, your mind relaxes, and your stress dissolves. This shift in energy allows abundance to flow freely. Fear contracts your energy, gratitude expands it. Worry blocks your blessings, gratitude unlocks them. Doubt lowers your vibration, gratitude raises it. Gratitude aligns you with the frequency of increase. It tunes you into the same vibration where money, success, and opportunities naturally exist. A person can be financially poor and still feel rich through gratitude. And someone can have all the money in the world yet feel empty because they lack it. Gratitude is what turns what you have into enough and then transforms enough into more than enough. It is the starting point of prosperity, but also the sustaining force behind it. Without gratitude, even great wealth feels fragile. With gratitude, even modest beginnings can turn into extraordinary abundance. Gratitude also creates mental clarity. When you stop focusing on what is wrong and begin acknowledging what is right, your mind becomes open and creative. You start seeing solutions instead of problems, possibilities instead of obstacles. Gratitude shifts your perspective from survival to expansion. It helps you realize that you are supported, guided, and surrounded by opportunities waiting for recognition. The mind works best when it is calm and appreciative, not panicked and complaining. Complaints are the opposite of gratitude, and they repel abundance. Every time you complain about money, you teach your mind to notice lack. You reinforce the belief that not enough is your reality. Complaints tighten your energy and create an inner resistance that blocks prosperity. Gratitude, on the other hand, teaches your mind to notice blessings, opportunities, and progress. It builds the belief that life is on your side. It opens you to receiving more because you are acknowledging what is already working. Gratitude also creates a powerful psychological shift. When you appreciate the money you already have, even if it is little, you begin to handle it better. You treat it with respect instead of fear. You make wiser decisions because you are operating from a grounded, abundant mindset. Many people mishandle money because they are operating from stress. But gratitude brings calm, and calm brings clarity. When you are grateful for the money that flows in and out of your life, you create a harmonious relationship with prosperity. You stop seeing money as an enemy, a problem, or a source of stress, and start seeing it as a supportive tool. This shift in attitude invites more money into your experience. Money flows to those who treat it with appreciation, respect, and positive expectation. Gratitude also transforms your emotions. It is impossible to feel fearful and grateful at the same time. It is impossible to feel lack and gratitude at the same time. Gratitude dissolves negative emotions the way sunlight dissolves darkness. It creates inner peace, confidence, and emotional richness. These emotions are the foundation of a prosperous life. Prosperity that is built on gratitude is stable, strong, joyful, and deeply fulfilling. Gratitude also strengthens your connection to the present moment. Many people are mentally stuck in the past or anxiously projecting into the future. But gratitude grounds you in the now, helping you recognize that right now you are supported. Right now you are breathing. Right now, life is giving you another chance to rise higher. The present moment is where abundance is created. Gratitude anchors you in that powerful space. When you practice gratitude consistently, your energy becomes so elevated that manifestation becomes natural. Abundance begins to respond faster. Ideas arrive quicker. Opportunities seem to fall into your lap. People show up at the exact right moment. You start experiencing synchronicities, little signs that life is orchestrating blessings on your behalf. This is not luck, it is alignment. Gratitude is the bridge between your current reality and the prosperity you desire. Even being grateful for things that have not yet manifested holds immense power. This kind of advanced gratitude pulls future blessings into your present experience. When you thank life for the abundance that is coming, you signal your readiness, you declare your belief, you shift your energy from "I hope" to "I know," and life responds to certainty far more quickly than it responds to hope. Gratitude in advance is faith in action. Gratitude for challenges is another powerful form. When you learn to appreciate the lessons hidden in difficulties, you turn obstacles into stepping stones. Every hardship carries wisdom. Every struggle carries strength. Every setback carries a hidden opportunity. Gratitude helps you extract the blessing instead of dwelling on the pain. This not only accelerates your growth, but also accelerates your financial breakthroughs. The quicker you learn the lesson, the faster life moves you forward. Gratitude is also contagious. When you live in a state of appreciation, people feel uplifted around you. They want to support you. collaborate with you, and help you succeed. Opportunities often come through people, and people respond positively to an energy of gratitude. It creates harmony in relationships, trust in business, and warmth in personal connections. These human connections often lead to financial blessings in unexpected ways. Gratitude is the language of abundance. It tells the universe, I see what you have given me. I honor it. I appreciate it. I am ready for more. And the universe, hearing that sincere appreciation, responds with more blessings, more opportunities, more money, more expansion. Gratitude multiplies everything blessed by it. It turns ordinary days into extraordinary ones, small steps into giant leaps, and simple moments into miracles. Abundance begins with a grateful heart because gratitude is the vibration where prosperity feels at home. There comes a moment in every human life when the noise of struggle becomes unbearable, when the weight of bills, burdens, and fear presses so heavily upon the chest that even breathing feels like effort. In that moment, most people assume they have reached the end of their options, but what many never realize is that this moment, this exact moment of pressure, is the birthplace of a miracle. It is the place where transformation begins. For every great shift in money, opportunity, and destiny starts the very second a person remembers the truth, that their words carry power, their thoughts carry direction, and their spirit carries authority. When one understands this, the entire world reorganizes itself to match that revelation. Money is not attracted to panic, to frustration, or to the desperate vibration of someone trying to survive. Money is drawn to clarity, certainty, and emotional peace. It responds to the inner tone of your mind the same way a compass responds to magnetism. When your inner conversation is filled with fear, the compass spins, confused and directionless. But when your inner conversation becomes intentional and faith-filled, the needle points steadily toward abundance. This is why the inner state of a person is far more powerful than any strategy, job, or opportunity. Your inner state is the language in which you speak to the universe. If that language is scattered, doubtful, or heavy, your results will always reflect it. But if your inner state is calm, expectant, and aligned with prosperity, the outer world must obey it. Change begins in the invisible long before it ever shows up in your hands. Most people want money first and peace later, but that is never how the world works. Peace is the soil where prosperity grows. A mind at war with itself cannot harvest abundance, but a mind trained to speak life, to expect good, and to bless every situation becomes a magnet so strong that money cannot help but move toward it. This is not magic, it is spiritual law. Every thought is a seed, every word is a command. Every feeling is a vibration that either draws in opportunities or pushes them away. When a person finally understands this, they stop chasing and start attracting. They stop begging life to get better and begin creating better results from within. The first shift must always occur in the realm of belief. No matter how much a person works, hustles, or strives, if they secretly believe money is difficult, rare, or incompatible with their identity, then the flow will be blocked at its source. The mind cannot receive what it rejects. It cannot hold what it fears. It cannot attract what it thinks is impossible. This is why the journey toward magnetizing money begins with a deep inner reconciliation. You must give yourself permission to be wealthy, comfortable, and provided for. You must allow prosperity to feel natural, not foreign. You must rewrite the hidden script that runs beneath your conscious thoughts. The script that says money is hard or dangerous or meant only for other people. Once that script is rewritten, the outer world shifts effortlessly. But belief alone is not enough. Belief must be expressed. The spoken word becomes the bridge between the inner and outer world. When you speak with certainty, when you declare that supply is on its way, when you affirm that money flows freely to you, you release a vibration that begins to rearrange circumstances. The right person calls. The overdue payment arrives. The unexpected opportunity presents itself, not because you forced it, but because your inner tone aligned with abundance and the external responded in harmony. Words carry creative power. Words plant roots in the unseen. Words summon results that logic cannot explain. When spoken consistently with faith, they create channels for wealth to enter your life in ways you never imagined. And yet, words without emotional alignment lack force. You must feel the truth of what you speak. You must speak with the inner certainty of someone reading a script of a movie already filmed. You must see yourself already provided for, already expanding, already living in the flow of abundance. Emotion amplifies intention. Feeling gives life to a declaration. When you speak prosperity with conviction, your spirit begins to vibrate differently. Doubt loses its grip, fear loses its voice, and worry loses its power. Your energy rises to a frequency where money responds naturally. This is why emotional mastery is essential. You do not wait for money to give you peace. You cultivate peace to attract the money. Every moment of lack, fear, or financial stress is a test not of endurance, but of alignment. Life watches the tone you maintain when pressure rises. Do you crumble and speak defeat? Or do you hold your ground and speak abundance? This is where the miracle happens. The greatest breakthroughs occur when you choose faith in the middle of uncertainty. When you choose gratitude even while waiting for the result. When you choose to bless your finances even before they increase. It is in these moments of disciplined thinking that the universe responds with accelerated favor. But magnetizing money is not only about thought and speech. It is also about action aligned with intuition. When your mind is clear and your spirit expects good, you begin receiving nudges, small impulses, ideas, inspirations. These are not random, they are divine instructions. They lead you toward the opportunities you asked for. A phone call you feel inspired to make. A small risk you feel encouraged to take. A step you feel drawn toward even if it doesn't fully make sense yet. When your inner world is aligned, the outer world begins guiding you. This is how abundance unfolds, one inspired step at a time, not forced, not frantic, guided, intentional, natural. There will always be moments when doubt returns, when old patterns whisper old fears. But this is where your discipline matters most. You must guard your words, you must guard your thoughts, you must guard the atmosphere of your mind. Money is not attracted to chaos, it is attracted to clarity. When you maintain that clarity, when you choose faith over fear, certainty over panic, and gratitude over complaint, you maintain the magnetism that draws wealth into your life. And in time, something extraordinary happens. You begin to trust the process. You begin to see that your thoughts truly shape your experiences. You begin noticing divine timing, unexpected blessings, and opportunities that feel tailor-made for you. You begin living in a rhythm of supply that feels effortless. The force that once pushed money away is dissolved, and the magnet that draws it in grows stronger by the day. Because the truth is simple. Abundance is not something you earn with fear. It's something you attract with alignment. It is not granted to the anxious. It is received by the expectant. It is not forced through struggle. It is welcomed through spiritual clarity. When a person finally understands this, their entire relationship with money transforms forever. They stop surviving and start receiving. They stop worrying and start welcoming. They stop struggling and start magnetizing. There is a quiet moment in life when a person finally pauses long enough to listen, not to the noise of the world, not to the opinions of others, but to the subtle guidance rising from within. This inner voice does not shout, demand, or pressure. It speaks with clarity, certainty, and direction. And when a person learns to honor it, they discover a force that leads them straight toward prosperity. Many spend years trying to think their way into wealth, plan their way into abundance, or work their way into success. But the most powerful victories are born when a person learns to follow intuition. Because intuition always knows the shortest, clearest, and most aligned path to the money, opportunities, and growth they seek. Intuition is the whisper of truth that appears before logic has time to interfere. It is the nudge to make a call, the idea that arrives in a moment of quiet, the feeling that a certain step is right even when you cannot explain why. It is the inner compass guiding you toward your highest good. It does not operate through fear or pressure. It operates through clarity and peace. And when a person learns to follow this voice, doors open that effort alone could never unlock. Intuition sees beyond circumstances. It sees beyond obstacles. It sees the opportunities waiting behind the curtain of the unseen. Most people ignore this voice because it does not speak the language of doubt. It offers direction without providing a map, and society teaches people to trust only what they can measure, touch, or rationalize. But wealth does not always arrive in logical ways. Some of the greatest financial breakthroughs come through moments that seem insignificant at first glance. A conversation overheard, an idea that repeats itself for weeks, a chance encounter, an unexpected invitation. These moments are not accidents, they are signals. Intuition uses them to guide you. When you learn to follow these signals with confidence, your life shifts from forced effort to inspired flow. People often believe intuition is something mystical or unreachable, but it is simply the voice beneath the noise. It is the mind without fear. It is the heart without doubt. It is the awareness that guides you toward harmony. And it becomes stronger the more you trust it. Every time you follow an intuitive nudge, you reinforce the connection. Every time you ignore it, you weaken the signal. Intuition becomes powerful when you act on it, even before you fully understand the outcome. This is where faith and inner wisdom blend into a force capable of transforming your financial reality. There are moments in life when intuition will ask you to release something: an old job, a draining client, a relationship that limits your growth. These choices may feel uncomfortable at first, but they create space for the abundance that truly belongs to you. Nothing new can enter a life that is already filled with what no longer serves it. Intuition knows what must be cleared before prosperity can flow freely. When you trust its guidance, you step into alignment with opportunities that were waiting for you all along. Sometimes intuition will urge you to take a risk, not out of recklessness, but out of clarity. It may guide you toward a new skill, a creative project, or a business idea. These impulses are not random, they are part of your path. When followed with conviction, they lead you toward new sources of income, new partnerships, and new doors that lift your life to a higher level. Your intuition already knows where your wealth is waiting. It knows the steps that will bring you closer to your desires. And when your spirit stays open, you begin recognizing the gentle pull that moves you toward greater financial expansion. There will be times when intuition contradicts logic. Logic may say there is no opportunity ahead, but intuition whispers to keep going. Logic may tell you something is too risky, while intuition tells you it is the breakthrough you've been waiting for. Logic calculates, intuition calibrates. Logic sees the world through past experiences. Intuition sees it through future potential. The most successful people learn to use both, but they allow intuition to lead. Logic is the map, but intuition is the compass. Without a compass, even the clearest map can lead you in circles. But with intuition guiding your steps, even uncertain paths lead to meaningful destinations. When your intuition aligns with a financial goal, you begin meeting people you never expected, receiving offers that feel unreal, and finding yourself in situations that seem perfectly timed. This is not coincidence. It is the universe responding to your inner alignment. Money follows clarity, and clarity comes from honoring that internal signal. You do not need to force opportunities when you are guided from within. The right ones move toward you naturally. The challenge is simply to remain open, attentive, and grounded enough to notice them when they appear. One of the greatest barriers to intuition is fear. Fear creates noise. It fogs the mind, tightens the chest, and blocks the ability to hear guidance. When a person is overwhelmed by fear, fear of losing money, fear of making mistakes, fear of being judged, they cannot sense the voice of intuition. But when fear is replaced with calm expectancy, the inner voice becomes clear again. This is why managing your emotional state is essential. You cannot access inner guidance from a place of panic. But when you breathe, center yourself, and choose trust over anxiety, intuition speaks with precision. Another barrier is overthinking. Many people analyze opportunities until they paralyze themselves. They want certainty before movement, guarantees before action. But intuition rarely gives a full picture at once. It gives you the next step, and when you take that step, the next one becomes visible. This is the dance between the inner world and the outer world. Your role is not to understand the entire journey. Your role is simply to respond when the inner nudge arrives. Every step taken in alignment is a step toward abundance. There is a quiet confidence that comes from following intuition. It is not loud or boastful, it is steady, it is grounded, it is the confidence of someone who knows they are guided and supported. This inner certainty creates a magnetic field around you. People feel it, opportunities respond to it, money gravitates toward it. When you are aligned with intuition, you are aligned with purpose. And purpose is a powerful attractor of prosperity. You no longer chase results, you draw them in. You no longer force outcomes, you allow them. And in time, intuition becomes your constant companion. It becomes the friend that never misleads you, the guide that knows your path, the wisdom that directs you toward everything meant for you. When you tune into this guidance consistently, your relationship with money transforms. You stop seeking external validation. You stop relying solely on effort. You begin trusting the inner impulses that lead to the people, places, and experiences aligned with your growth. Money becomes a natural byproduct of alignment rather than a reward for struggle. Intuition is not a luxury. It is not a mystical gift reserved for a few. It is the natural language of your spirit, always available, always guiding, always leading you toward the prosperity you were born to experience. When you live in tune with it, you live in flow. When you trust it, you walk into opportunities others overlook. And when you follow it consistently, you become a magnet for the wealth, freedom, and expansion that have been waiting for you all along. There comes a time in every person's journey when they begin to realize that life is not happening to them. It is responding to them. Every thought they think, every word they speak, every expectation they carry sends a signal into the unseen world, and that signal shapes the pattern of their experiences. This is why gratitude and expectation are two of the most powerful forces a human being can cultivate. Gratitude lifts your vibration to a place of receiving, and expectation directs that receiving toward the good you desire. Together, they create an atmosphere so magnetic that money, opportunities, and breakthroughs cannot help but be drawn toward you. Most people believe gratitude is something they feel only when life gives them something. But true gratitude is a spiritual stance, a choice, a frequency you carry even before the blessing arrives. Gratitude does not say, "I will be thankful when I see the result." Gratitude says, "I am thankful because the result is already on its way." This is what transforms the heart. This is what opens the door. Gratitude is not about the present circumstance. It's about the inner knowing that the circumstance is temporary and good is already unfolding. Expectation is the partner to gratitude. Where gratitude opens the door, expectation keeps it open. Expectation is the magnetic pull between you and your desire. When you expect good, you become a living invitation for blessings. When you expect lack, you unconsciously push abundance away. Expectation shapes the atmosphere of your mind. It determines whether you greet the day with fear or with faith, with worry or with certainty. And that atmosphere determines what flows toward you. Many people misunderstand these principles because they have been trained to look only at what is happening in front of them. When the bank account is low, they worry. When opportunities seem scarce, they panic. When life delays its blessings, they lose hope. But gratitude teaches the heart to steady itself. Expectation teaches the mind to focus on possibility instead of limitation. Together, they create a state of inner abundance long before the outer abundance arrives. Imagine someone planting a seed in the ground. They do not dig it up every hour to check on its progress. They water it, protect it, nourish it, and trust that it is growing even when they cannot see a single sign of life. This is how gratitude and expectation operate. Your desire is the seed. Your faith is the soil. Your gratitude is the water. Your expectation is the sunlight. When you hold these qualities consistently, the seed must grow. It cannot fail. The law is too perfect, but most people do the opposite. They plant the seed of a financial desire and then immediately flood it with worry. They speak words that contradict their own dreams. They expect disappointment even as they pray for success. They sabotage their own harvest with thoughts they believe are harmless but are in fact deeply creative. Every complaint, every fearful prediction, every negative expectation becomes a command. The universe responds not to what you want occasionally but to what you believe consistently. This is why gratitude is not a mood, it is a discipline. It is a practice you return to again and again, even when the outer world gives you no reason to feel grateful, especially then, because it is in those moments, the moments when nothing appears to be working, that gratitude becomes a spiritual weapon. When you express gratitude in difficulty, you rise above circumstance. You shift your vibration to match the life you want instead of the life you see, and energy responds to energy. Life responds to alignment. Abundance responds to the heart that stays open. Expectation is just as powerful. You can speak gratitude aloud, but if you secretly expect failure, the energy of that expectation will override your words. The universe reads the heart before it hears the voice. Expectation is the inner truth you believe when no one is watching. It is the quiet assumption your spirit carries. If that assumption is negative, no amount of positive thinking will change your reality. But when the assumption is abundance, deeply, sincerely, consistently, then your outer world must eventually reflect that belief. Expectation is not about forcing a timeline. It is about standing in the knowing that your desire already belongs to you. It is about trusting divine timing, not your own impatience. It is about understanding that delays are not denials. They are rearrangements, alignments, and preparations for something better than the mind could imagine. People often think gratitude and expectation are passive states, but they are profoundly active. Gratitude reshapes the nervous system, calms the mind, and opens the heart. Expectation influences your decisions, amplifies intuition, and pulls you toward aligned action. Together, they create a life that feels guided, supported, and blessed. When gratitude and expectation work in harmony, something extraordinary happens. You begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You begin to feel guided instead of lost. You begin to experience coincidences so perfect that they feel orchestrated. Money appears in ways that defy logic. A reef, and you forgot about, a client who returns unexpectedly, a sudden idea that creates income, a job offer that seems tailor-made for your life. These moments are not luck. They are the natural outcome of living in alignment with abundance. Gratitude creates receivership. Expectation directs it. Gratitude says, I am ready. Expectation says, I know it's mine. Gratitude connects you to the present. Expectation connects you to the future. Together, they create a bridge between unseen desire and visible manifestation. The person who lives in gratitude and expectation does not live in fear of money because they understand that supply does not come from one job, one person, or one circumstance. Supply comes from the infinite. It comes through channels, not from channels. When one channel closes, another opens. When one door shuts, a better one swings wide. Gratitude reminds you of this truth. Expectation allows you to experience it. A grateful person is never spiritually poor. An expectant person is never truly lacking because gratitude attracts provision. Expectation manifests opportunity. And together, they form a magnetic field so strong that life bends to meet it. Money is not drawn to the anxious or the doubtful. It is drawn to those who speak the language of abundance, those who give thanks before they receive and expect good even when they cannot see it. This is the secret. This is the law. And once a person understands it deeply, they carry within themselves a quiet but unshakable power. The power to magnetize money, blessings, and miracles simply by aligning their heart with gratitude and their mind with expectation. There is an extraordinary truth that many people overlook because they spend their lives staring at their circumstances instead of looking within. That truth is this: your imagination is the workshop of your future. It is the spiritual engine that shapes the experiences you will eventually walk into. Before money reaches your hands, it first takes shape in your mind. Before opportunities appear in your life, they first appear in your inner vision. What you picture, you prepare for. What you prepare for, you attract, and what you attract, you eventually receive. Imagination is not a child's toy. It is the architect of destiny. It is the doorway through which abundance travels. But imagination does more than create a picture. It creates a vibration. When you imagine wealth, you begin to feel wealth. When you imagine opportunity, you begin to embody opportunity. When you imagine freedom, your spirit rises to meet that freedom. This shift in vibration is what draws prosperity into your life. Money responds to energy long before it responds to effort. It responds to vision long before it responds to logic. When you dare to hold a picture of abundance in your mind, even when the outer world contradicts it, you activate a universal law. The outer must eventually reflect the inner. People who struggle financially often imagine only survival. Their inner world is filled with images of bills, burdens, and fear. They picture loss, they picture limitation, they picture the worst possible outcome. They rehearse disaster in their minds, and without realizing it, they magnetize more of the very thing they fear. The mind does not distinguish between imagination and reality. It simply responds to the dominant images it receives, and the universe responds right along with it. When the mind is filled with pictures of lack, the world bends to reflect that lack. But when the mind is filled with images of wealth, ease, and abundance, the world begins to rearrange itself to match that vision. This is why imagination is so powerful. It allows you to step into the future before the future arrives. It allows you to feel the very thing you desire long before it becomes physical. And that feeling is the key. Feeling is the magnet. Feeling is the bridge. Feeling is the energy that pulls your desire toward you. When you imagine abundance vividly enough that you begin to feel it in your body, your vibration changes instantly. And that change in vibration begins to attract new thoughts, new ideas, new opportunities, and new pathways that lead to your desire. Some people dismiss imagination as unrealistic. They say, "I'll imagine it when I see it." But imagination works in reverse. You see it because you imagined it. The universe requires a blueprint, and imagination is how you draw it. You cannot receive what you will not allow yourself to picture. You cannot walk into a future that you refuse to mentally enter. Every financial breakthrough begins as an inner experience long before it becomes an outer one. A person might say, "But how can I imagine wealth when nothing in my life looks like wealth?" The answer is simple. You imagine it because that is how you create the opening. Imagination does not require permission from circumstance. It does not wait for conditions to improve. It operates independently from the physical world. It is a spiritual tool, not a material one. And like any tool, it becomes stronger with use. The more you imagine abundance, the more natural it feels. The more natural it feels, the more your energy aligns with it. The more your energy aligns with it, the faster it appears. Imagination is the opposite of worry. Just as worry creates negative momentum, imagination creates positive momentum. Worry is imagination used against yourself. It is the rehearsal of outcomes you do not want. It drains your energy, closes your heart, and blocks your ability to receive. But when you use imagination correctly, when you imagine your life expanding, your finances growing, your opportunities increasing. You break the pattern of fear. You replace the energy of contraction with the energy of expansion. You call forth a new reality by rehearsing it internally until it becomes familiar. A powerful shift occurs when the future you imagine becomes more real to you than the circumstance you see. When that happens, the outer world is compelled to change. It has no choice. Spirit always precedes matter. Consciousness always leads form. If you maintain the inner picture long enough, the outer must conform to it. But imagination alone is not passive daydreaming. True imagination brings with it a feeling of certainty. You do not simply see the life you want. You begin to feel that it is already yours. You walk with a different posture. You speak with a different tone. You move with a different sense of identity. You make decisions as someone who is supported, not someone who is struggling, and life responds to this identity shift immediately. New doors open because you are now standing in front of the doors meant for who you are becoming, not who you were. Each time you imagine your future with clarity, you are transmitting a message. You are signaling to the universe the reality you have chosen, and the universe begins orchestrating connections, aligning timing, and moving obstacles to bring that reality into form. You may not see the shift immediately, but the shift is instant. Once the vision changes, the path begins to align. There will be resistance at first. Old experiences will try to convince you that your new vision is unrealistic. Old fears will attempt to pull you back into familiar patterns, but imagination is stronger than memory. Memory pulls you backward, imagination pulls you forward. When you give your imagination more attention than your past, the future begins to take shape. This is the secret of all great change. The mind must arrive before the body does. The vision must manifest internally before it manifests externally. The heart must accept abundance before the hands can hold it. When you imagine abundance with emotion, persistence, and clarity, you send a powerful message. This is who I am becoming. This is the reality I choose. This is the life I claim. And once you claim it within, everything outside begins to shift. People appear who can help you. Ideas arrive that elevate you. Unexpected money flows in. Solutions appear to problems you once feared. And through it all, you begin to feel a deep sense of alignment, a sense that everything is working for your good, even the things you once misunderstood. Imagination is not fantasy. It is creation. It is communication. It is alignment with your highest self. When you dare to picture a life of wealth and expansion, you open the gates to receive it. When you imagine the best, you become the best. When you imagine abundance, you begin to embody abundance. And abundance always moves toward the place it feels welcomed, honored, and expected. There comes a moment in every person's journey toward abundance when they must face the truth that money is never the enemy. It is the fear around money, the struggle around money, the stories inherited from generations before us that distort our relationship with it. When people say money is hard, money becomes hard. When they say money slips through my fingers, it slips through their fingers. When they believe they must sacrifice joy, health, or peace to earn money, they create a life where money comes only through exhaustion and burnout. But when a person understands that money is simply a symbol, an energy that responds directly to belief, expectation, and vibration, they unlock one of the greatest freedoms of their lives. They learn that money is not something to chase but something to attract, something to welcome, something to align with. This shift begins deep within the mind. It begins with recognizing that every thought you hold is either opening the gates of abundance or quietly closing them. If a person believes they must fight for every rupee, that they are unworthy of wealth, that others can prosper but they cannot, then money will always remain a stranger. But when they speak with conviction that I am a magnet for divine supply, when they affirm, what is mine comes to me with ease and perfect timing, the universe rearranges itself in ways the rational mind cannot comprehend. Opportunities appear like whispers. Ideas flow like water. People come into their lives at the exact moment they are needed. This is not luck. This is alignment. Money is not just currency. It is a mirror. It reflects a person's inner state. If they carry resentment, they will experience blocks. If they carry fear, they will experience scarcity. If they carry comparison, they will experience lack. But when they cultivate gratitude, generosity, confidence, and clarity, money responds with equal generosity. It flows where it is welcomed, where it is respected, where it is viewed as a tool rather than a tyrant. It is important to understand that money is never the master. The mind is the master. The words are the command. The belief is the law. There is a spiritual rhythm to money. Many people try to force it through strategy alone, through effort alone, through pressure alone. They believe the only way to earn more is to work harder, stay longer, or push stronger. But the universe does not reward struggle. It rewards harmony. It rewards alignment. It rewards a spirit that understands the unseen forces behind material success. When a person speaks abundance with faith, their energy becomes magnetic. When they visualize prosperity with joy, they shift their frequency. When they treat every rupee they have with respect, they signal to the universe that they are ready for more. Money responds to atmosphere. It responds to emotion. It responds to intention. The mind that expects lack sees lack in every direction. The mind that expects abundance sees pathways where others see walls. And these pathways are not illusions. They are real, tangible, powerful routes that open only when the inner dialogue aligns with prosperity. This is why it is essential to examine the beliefs that run silently in the background. If someone grew up hearing, "Money doesn't grow on trees," their subconscious may believe that money is rare. If they heard, "Rich people are greedy," they may unconsciously reject wealth. If they heard, "You must suffer to survive," they may sabotage every opportunity for ease. But when they rewrite these beliefs with declarations of abundance, they transform their relationship with money at the core. They no longer chase wealth, they attract it. Many people live in a cycle of fear of losing money, fear of not having enough, fear of unexpected expenses. What they do not realize is that fear is a magnet too. It pulls toward itself the very thing it worries about. But faith is a magnet as well. Confidence is a magnet. Expectation is a magnet. When a person shifts from "what if I don't have enough" to "there is always more on the way," they unlock the flow of supply. This shift is not fantasy. It is spiritual law. Fear constricts, faith expands. Fear closes doors, faith opens them. Fear blocks supply, faith attracts it. Money itself carries no moral weight. It does not know good or bad. It simply amplifies who a person already is. In the hands of